Welcome to day 18, which is titled Meet Your Inner Fire. So we got a big one today, and I'm going to start 1.8 billion years ago. So we go back that far in evolution on Earth. It was a time when there were only single-celled organisms. So there was nothing more complex than single-celled organisms. Yeah, each had just a cell. So in the cell you've got a nucleus and you've got a cell wall. Okay, so there were two different types. They were all prokaryotes, but there were two different types: archaeons and bacteriums, but all these single-celled. Now, at that point, really important that you've got a cell wall, because you're protecting yourself, you're controlling what's going in and out of the cell. It's really important. But it remained like that for a long time. So evolution wise it stayed at these single cells. Then there's a point in our evolution of the Earth, when one of these, it was an archaeon, one of these single-celled organisms, we'll say decided to open the cell wall and allow another cell, which actually was a bacterium, which came in and entered. Now, if you think at that moment, to open the cell wall for the single-celled organism, you were just risking annihilation. You were opening yourself to the unknown. You had no idea what was going to happen. So like phenomenal risk. But actually, in evolutionary terms, this moment was critical, because opening that cell wall, allowing the other single-celled organism to go in, meant you ended up with two nuclei. And from 2, you went to 4, to 6, to 8. Like, complexity really originated from this single going, It just allowed complexity to happen from then on. You got into mitochondria and energy powerhouses that arrived at us today, So without this, little archaeon deciding to risk annihilation by opening its cell wall, crazy stuff. We wouldn't be around. Complexity wouldn't exist on Earth today. So it's a great story, but why am I telling you that? And what relevance does it have to Black Knight? Well, actually, we've moved up to branches now. And branches are you opening out to your bigger purpose. So it's like you need to open your cell wall to yourself, to risk. In your psyche, it's almost like you're risking annihilation. You're opening your cell wall, to the unknown. And one of the places that we suppress this energy, this power and energy, that we need to be a Black Knight and to open ourselves up to more of our power and energy, is actually male rage. Now, stay with me on this, okay? Stay with me on this. Some of you will recoil and go, "What's male rage? Got to do with it? I don't have that. I'm angry. I get angry, but I don't feel rage. I'm not one of those people." So, I promise you, if you stay with me, I promise you, if you're a man, you have rage, okay? And it's not anger, it's rage. But actually, that's where the power is. This is like, it's fiery, it's nuclear, and it exists inside you. So just, stay with me on this. If we can really be honest and feel that rage, inside us, and not have it repressed or suppressed, and not have it like shown out in the world dysfunctionally, there's a real key to our ability to be the fullness of our Black Knight. Okay, so that energy, the energy is is phallus. It's creative lightning bolt potential that hits the earth, and creates, life. So nature on the earth, and then lightning. That's the masculine creative force hitting the earth, and it's a full on like energy. So it's not, you can't kind of just airbrush it out and go, well, it's kind of, anger, and it's not. This is huge primordial energy we're talking about here. And in the East, it's celebrated. You see lots of images, statues of the phallus. If you look at ancient cultures, the phallus was celebrated. You see, archaeologists have found lots of statues of phallus, big, large statues of phallus. When we don't honor that energy, that creative masculine phallus energy, what happens is it just gets projected out. It gets shown up in our world. So we have these, huge tower blocks, and but we're not honest and say that is actually a dysfunctional way of showing the phallus. I mean, it exists, but it's unconscious. It comes up through our unconscious. So this work that we're doing over the 21 days is about being conscious. We have to be conscious about this energy. So we can't project it. We can't repress it. We have to say, we have it. As men, we have it. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal energy. And it really allows you to really explode out those branches, So what can happen in a family, if you go back to like the psychology of a family, is, the dad, like my dad was explosive, was, angry, was violent, and I, my mother would be, well, don't be like your dad, don't. And I know that I could almost hear myself swearing to myself, I'll never be like that, And at that moment, although my dad, that rage was dysfunctional, in that moment, when I swore to myself, I will never be like that, I literally repressed the rage down, and I swore I will be this nice person, and I can feel myself saying, I'll do a lot for peace, and so it's funny, in the whole psychology, spirituality, self-development arena, it can be, we just don't, with some stars, we don't go there. We say, well, we'll deal with this shadow, and we'll, look at different aspects and all. But actually, we don't engage in that full power, the full power that exists in our phallus. Now, I would have done it and accessed it through Tantra, and that would have had its roots in the East, where it's celebrated as a real potent energy. Potente in Italian is power, potente. So it is that real potent energy, and in the East, as I said, they celebrate it. So we need to. The 21 days is about bringing the 95, the unconscious, into making it conscious, and we are all responsible for this rage within us. And if you say to yourself, I don't have rage, that is not honest. If you're a man, you have rage. You either pick it up from your own unconscious, or you pick it up from the collective unconscious, but it exists within us, and it's your access to your power. So if you access it, correctly, you access your truth, and you become believable because you're complete. Without accessing your inner rage in a functional way, you're not believable, because there's a whole part of you that hasn't been accessed. There's a whole part of your power that hasn't been accessed, and people pick it up, especially men will pick it up, that you haven't gone there. You haven't really embraced and embodied that real balls fire, phallus balls fire that comes up from the ground, So I would have, in martial arts, where you're goaded that fire comes up, in that fighting. Also, I was in a men's group in Toronto, and I was only there for one night, and they asked if somebody wanted to go through a process, and my hand went up before I even realized it. And they asked me what it was, what was my issue at the moment, and I told them what it was. And they formed a men's web, physical men's web, that I had to literally stretch my way through. And it was funny because the more I stretched and pulled my way through and against the whole pressure, the more they closed down. They didn't get it. I thought they might have got easier. But they actually closed in around me, and I had to really struggle. All these men struggled through them to just push and claim. It was like claiming my existence through the struggle of all the men and push out to the other. It actually took, I don't know, maybe it took about half an hour. It seemed like ages. All the way through the men, they kept on gathering around for me to go right through the whole end of the group. And I landed on the ground. I just felt so exhausted, that I literally pushed my own energy, that whole rage right through the whole man and out the far end. And I was so exhausted, I actually didn't feel I could make it home. I didn't feel I could walk home. I was spent. I was just on the ground, so exhausted. And that's when we access a method, albeit martial arts, or it could be chopping wood. It's just something that just bangs it all out of ourselves. That after it we feel, I got all that out. And then what happens, a bit like a samurai, we then have accessed our rage. We've accessed it, we've touched it, and it's okay. When we suppress it, we don't know. We're afraid that a lot of men have said to me, I'm afraid if I let it out, I'll hurt people. I'll really hurt, and that's because they've repressed it and they haven't accessed it. But when you access it, it's like, okay, I've had a conversation, I've accessed it. It's okay. I realize it. So like the samurai sit. They've accessed their rage. They've accessed their full power. They are complete, and so they don't need to use it. Everybody knows they have it, and so they sit. So when they're fighting, they're so efficient because their power is embodied. Their full, complete power is embodied, and that's really important for us to just to access it fully and be okay with it. To be okay to feel that complete. So, really important topic today, especially for men. And for me, that's been my journey. I didn't access, as I said, in my childhood, and I got depressed. I really got depressed from being that nice person. It all got repressed, and I got depressed. The fire went out of me, and so it was only through a number of things, like, as I say, martial arts, like the men's group, like other work that I did in Tantra, that I accessed it and could reconnect with that real phallus fire, that real primal energy, that lightning bolt energy. So it's incredible. It's really incredible. Vitality for your whole body, your psychology, emotional, spiritual, everything. It's really important. So I'm going to give you a meditation tonight to meet your inner fire. So hope you really enjoy that. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 19. Ciao, ciao.